Well, let's move on to a fascinating little subject called the teenage brain. You may not think they even have them, but they have them. They have them. They have brains. And for a long time, people thought the teenage brain was already completely developed. And in a sense, it is, because physically it is. It's all developed. And the brain's not going to grow anymore once they hit adolescence. But what's not developed are all the neurons and the electrical connections. So it's kind of like they have the hardware, a computer, but the software's not working, okay? And that's what's happening to them. That software's not working. And let's just take a look at what does that mean, that the software is not working. Well, you know, you've got the very basic reptilian brain. That's just the brain stem. That's pretty basic. But then there's this limbic brain. It's the seat of emotion, okay? Fear and anger, memories, hormones, sex, motivation. And then there's the cortex, which is for higher thought and reasoning. And the prefrontal cortex is what helps us to plan ahead, to manage our emotions, be the brain's conscience, make good decisions. Okay, so it's the limbic brain and the cortex that are really the critical pieces. Now they're there physically, but all the neurons and electronic things are not happening. And what has a huge effect on the limbic brain, that's the seat of emotion, memories, hormones, sex, and motivation, what has a profound effect on that but testosterone, testosterone. And in teenage boys, they have 5 to 7 testosterone surges a day, 1,000% more testosterone by the time they're outside of adolescence, as in puberty. And that, of course, as I said, has a huge effect on the limbic brain. Fear, anger, memories, hormones, sex, motivation. Okay? And so as a result, you know, as this one author says, adolescent brains get the gas before they have brakes. It's like putting your son in a car with no brakes. You know, you have the accelerator, you can go, but you don't have brakes. And they actually don't have them. And they cannot see things as you see them, or as I see them. They just cannot. And that is why smart guys, really smart guys, do stupid things. They do very stupid things. That prefrontal cortex, the wiring is not complete. And the prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain network to develop in adolescent males, the last part. And that's the part that makes good judgments, good judgments. And so you see this happening in high school every day. Every day you see good guys doing stupid things, making stupid judgments, and they don't even know why. They don't even know why. You know, it's like, I clipped this out of Zits. There they go. You're worried? Yes, DMW, driving while male. And the problem is testosterone is not a controlled substance. Should be controlled substance. Now, because that testosterone in boys, you know, and this is where, you know, boys are different from girls. They are very, very different from girls. But boys, because of that, you know, boys outdo girls in things that are not good. They outdo girls in attention deficit. They outdo girls in failing in school. They outdo girls in dropping out of school. They have lower scores on standardized tests. They abuse drugs more than girls do. They attempt suicide more than girls do. And now, of course, there's a big discrepancy even in college. Boys are going to college less than girls do. Girls now have the upper hand. You know, in Northwest Ohio, where we live, Northwest Ohio, only 20% of men have their bachelor's degrees in Northwest Ohio. 20% of men. And so that's, you know, that's a very interesting statistic. But again, it's this huge testosterone surge in guys. A school like this is filled with testosterone. And what does it do? Would girls do this? Probably not. Probably not. You know? Probably not. That man who wrote the article in National Geographic, this is interesting. You know, guys, risky behavior, look at that. Up here is higher preference for risk, lower preference for risk. And those things on the bottom are the ages, right? And so what? 13, 14, 16, 17, a boy's desire for risk is at its peak. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, desire for risk is at its peak. And that does make boys very different from girls. Boys and girls are very different. Girls do not have that same desire for risk that boys do, but they have it. And a huge part is that testosterone that's in their bodies. This, I already told you, it's the last part of the brain to develop in male adolescence. Physically proven, okay? And that's why these smart guys do stupid things. You know, when it happens all the time. It happens all the time. We see it in school here, story after story. I remember I did it when I was a student here. I did stupid things. And you guys sitting here, if you think back, you'll remember you did stupid things too when you were in high school. You know, and it's a matter they cannot even think of it. They cannot even think of it. In the class, in the mid-'80s, early '80s, there was a class, they keep telling me there was only one time I ever yelled at them. And this was before the senior steps were outside at this time. Okay, it was the last day of class for the seniors. And I hear this commotion on the front steps, and I look out the door, and here is a group of seniors carrying this guy's two-seater car up the senior steps, right? They carry it up the senior steps. And I said something I probably should not have said at the time, but they took it down right away. but you know, when I saw these guys carrying a car up the steps, all I could think of at my age was, somebody is going to slip. We're going to have a teenager dead on our senior steps, pinned under a car. They never thought of anything like that. Never. You know, I tell the story when I was a senior here. We had our senior prom in the gym. And so we had to decorate for the senior prom in the gym, and we just had a great idea of how to decorate. You know, I think the statute of limitations is finished. Al Gore can't get me now. But you know, we just thought, it's springtime, we need some trees in here. And so what did we do? There were about 4 or 5 of us. A couple guys got a pickup truck, and a few of us got saws. And so we just went across the street. I mean, there are a ton of trees over in Ottawa Park, right? So we just went to Ottawa Park thinking nothing of it. We just cut down trees, and the truck circled by. We threw them on the truck. We brought them in here. We never thought anything wrong, right? Because we were teenagers. You know, the teenage mind doesn't think too well. Don't make good decisions. And guys do that all the time. And I think you have to remember that, you know, sometimes it's even the best. It's the very best of guys that do these things. We had a great, this is a great story, because these guys in our school, they were doing what they call car hopping. I don't know if you know what car hopping is, but car hopping is, you go to a car, you see if the car is open. If it's unlocked, you go and you take something from it. You know, maybe just a CD, maybe a map, something, but you take something out of the car. Stealing, that's what it is. It's stealing, car hopping. So, the police come here, you know, and so we had these students. They were going one night, they were out someplace, they were going to one guy's house to watch some videos, some movies. I guess movies you called them back then, not videos, okay. So, there are 2 vehicles. One of the guys says, hey, let's do some car hopping on the way, okay? And so, yeah, let's do that. One guy says, no, I'm not getting involved in that. I'm going home. I'll see you guys back there, because they were going to his house. So he leaves. And the other guys, 3 of them are in another vehicle. So pretty soon one calls up, hey, I don't want to do this either. Come and get me. Okay, I'll be right there. So he goes, gets him. Pretty soon he gets a phone call. Hey, you know, the police, they're behind us. Okay, do you need me to come and get you? Yeah, I'll be right over. Oh, there were 3 cars. Yeah, I'll be right over. Okay, so he goes over. So the police have these guys now, and they say, so it's just, you know, your 2 vehicles, just you guys? They said, no, there's 1 more car out there. They said, oh, do you know where it is? No, but we can call them. So they call the other guy, hey, the police are here. They want you too. Okay, I'll be right over, you know? So thank God, you know, they're amateurs in this whole thing. They don't have malice, but they just do dumb things. You know, they do dumb things because you just don't think about these things. They're incapable of seeing things the way you and I are capable of seeing them. You know, I think that's, I often refer to the story in the Gospels, in St. Luke's Gospel, about Jesus being left behind in the temple, you know, and his mother comes and, you know, why are you here? Did you know what your father and I are worried about you? You know, I think he just has the attitude, what are you worried about? Well, I'm here. What's the big deal? I'm here. Why are you worried? You know, and I think that they just are incapable of seeing things the way you are. They cannot do it. And you know, you tell your son to be home by 11, it's 11:15 or 11:30 and he's not home, and you, especially moms, you're thinking he's been in an accident, something happened, something terrible happened, you know, and he shows up, well, what's the big deal? I'm just a little bit late. But they just don't think like you think. They don't think like you think. And I think they're incapable of it because that front part of their brain is just not yet developed. It's just not yet developed. And guys, you remember, we did those things. You know, something stupid, I don't want to dwell on this. This is something stupid. You know, it's something stupid. These guys, they put things out on the internet and Facebook. And, you know, once it's out there, it's out there. It's out there for anybody, for anybody. And this is a stupid thing to do, but they do it. Okay, so we've made the case of how stupid teenage boys can be sometimes. So let's go back to what they're like. You know, in all the books that I read, and again, looking at our guys in this school, they want these things. They want these things. Boys want these things. They want action. They want risk. They want challenges. They do want to belong. You know, guys want to belong to a tribe, the one author says. That's why they join teams, they join clubs, they get groups, whatever. But guys, they do want to belong. Traditions and rituals. You know, our school just reeks with traditions. And I think it takes about 1.5 years, repeat it twice, and then something becomes a tradition here at the school. But guys love traditions. They love traditions, and they love rituals, to go through rituals. Guys love competition. We love to compete. No matter how old we are, we like to compete. Whether it's in an argument, whether it's in a board game, whether it's in a physical game, whatever, we love to compete. And guys too love the journey. You know, they love the journey, and sometimes guys love the journey even more than they love the end of the journey. You know, you watch guys so often times, and you know, I know, like after games and things, adults, we get so upset sometimes that you know, they lost or something, but you know, okay, it's over, let's move on. They do like ideals and heroes. They like to build things up, and they like to destroy stuff too. They want to be loved, and they also need male friendships. You know, that's an interesting thing.